You only get one shot, one opportunity to make a first impression, and nobody knows that better than the dreaded one-hit wonder. One trick to avoid having one ultra-popular song overshadow the rest of a musician's discography that you can have today for free from me, though, is staying away from anything that might be considered a novelty. Let's just say nobody is taking your work seriously after Who Let the Dogs Out, even though it is a banger, it's just not happening, is it? However, this list today isn't about bad artists who didn't deserve great careers, but rather that said great careers came in spite of a wonky breakout hit that many onlookers doomed to go down as a mere fluke. Oh, how wrong we all were. I'm Josh from WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 pop stars who should have been one-hit wonders. Number 10, Avril Lavigne. Though it might be a stretch to still be calling Avril Lavigne a pop star by today's standards, she's managed to scrape together a couple of hits over the last few years. And let's face it, when it's 2 a.m. and you've just gone through a breakup, you're absolutely smacking on I'm With You. There's just no question about it. However, Lavigne's debut single, Complicated, was a polite, inoffensive little slice of pop music played to a preteen market that had just missed out on the Britney Christina years, aka my years. I'm not even kidding you when I say that this was the tune I'd listen to hype me up on the bus to first school football matches. Of course, it was the follow-up Skater Boy that properly skyrocketed Lavigne to fame. From a title that pretty much defines the early noughties in hindsight to the repetitive but hooky chorus, it felt more like a gimmick than song, and it was easy to envision a disastrous direct follow-up following the lives of the Skater Boy and his lover. Avril had much more sense than that though, and while her later career returned to the gimmicky, hooky style of Skater Boy with tracks like Girlfriend, there was enough variety in between to establish her place in the industry. Number 9, Rae Jepsen. Ask pretty much anyone on the street what their favourite pop album was of the 2010s, and there's a good chance they'll tell you it's Emotion by Rae Jepsen. It's an LP that continues to rock the What Culture office on the daily, and her follow-up Dedicated is arguably just as good. Of course, if I sound a little bit surprised about this, it's because Kylie's first big hit was written off pretty much by everyone as something too gimmicky to ever support a career. Call Me Maybe, which again is a cracking song, came at a time where pretty much everyone had big meme songs to cement them 5 seconds of fame, and this was lumped in wrongly with that crowd. Admittedly, from the annoyingly infectious hook to a memeable music video starring Tom Hanks, most people had a knee-jerk reaction to it and assumed that it was trying too hard. However, it absolutely was not, and Rae Jepsen proved everyone completely wrong. Number 8, Kylie Minogue. When your first mega hit is a cover song, it doesn't really bode well for any sort of longevity. And when your first hit is a cover of The Locomotion, you might as well just phone your parents and forewarn them that a lifetime of disappointment is on the way. At least, in theory, both of these things should be true, and 20 years later, there's still no good argument for why Kylie Minogue should have been able to come back and have another hit after this. But, lo and behold, she told Logic to suck it and then orchestrated a nearly flawless career from then on. To be fair, in her native Australia and in the UK, Kylie never went away. She was pumping out hit after hit every couple of months, evidently as a self-imposed punishment for revitalizing the Locomotion line dance. In the States, however, her 2001 smash hit Can't Get You Out of My Head was treated as a major comeback. It may have taken her longer to shake off the one-hit wonder label stateside, but she still got it done, and a world without Kylie truly is the darkest timeline. Number 7, Train. Oh, how lucky we'd be if Meet Virginia was the only thing Train was known for. There'd be no Drops of Jupiter, there'd be no Marry Me, and there'd certainly be no Hey Soul Sister. In fact, rumor has it this reality was the exact same one that John Lennon was singing about in Imagine, and it really is beautiful if you think about it. Instead, the vanilla wafer wearing a blazer that is Train went balls out in the 21st century, throwing themselves onto any and all genres, absorbing the worst parts of said genres, and then evacuating those remnants onto pop radio. To call their career trajectory the result of genre hopping is a bit insulting to artists who genuinely explore different musical avenues, but it is, I suppose, in the same vein. At first, Train was just another in a long line of post-grunge, light alt-rockish supplements, easily confused with the likes of Tony Tonic and Vertical Horizon. And, oh, you're already Googling Tonic and Vertical Horizon, aren't you? I mean, that's pretty much the point, and Train could have faded away just as easily as those. But no, Train did stay popular because of an admittedly impressive chameleon streak wherein they'd assume the identity of whichever band just made a splash on the charts with a unique sound. And I know I've gone in on them hard here, but seriously, if you love Train, I love you for loving Train. You know what? You can like what you like. I have so many bands you would absolutely take the mick out of me for liking, so, you know, I feel ya. Number 6, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga's influence on the pop charts cannot be overstated, and she perfectly occupied a vacant Carnival-esque role in the industry, which had been in need of another pop oddity ever since Marilyn Manson faded from the limelight. However, The Office's Michael Scott was absolutely correct when he misattributed Lady Gaga's breakout hit Just Dance to Britney Spears. There's nary a hint of the signature offbeat textures that occupy the rest of her discography, and that sort of clinically mainstream production is often hard to overcome with a second single, with the artist and the label fighting over what identity they want to present to the audience. Often the artist will push too far in the other direction, spending the remainder of their career trying to distance themselves from their big hit, and often the label will dilute all the talent down to the point where they practically murder a career dead. Luckily, Gaga simply glided past it all, proceeding to push out a slew of eccentric pop songs with just the right amount of sheen to get them onto pop radio. And that resulted in Bad Romance, which was a defining moment that found Mother Monster pushing the weird pedal hard enough to speed past all the generic pop stars on the crowded highway toward notoriety. Number 5, Justin Timberlake. Branching off from a boy band isn't really usually a recipe for success. I mean, ask literally any other person besides Justin Timberlake how well their solo careers have gone, because you can't. You just can't, because no one knows their addresses or phone numbers or Twitter handles, because Chris Kirkpatrick is not at the top of anyone's mind, except right now because I just put his name there and I bet he's already gone. Timberlake then was supposed to break away from his buddies, prove that he was a serious artist in his 20s, and then fade away like all good boy band alum eventually do. Although the jury is still out on whether One Direction can buck this trend, in my opinion, they look like they're gonna. For Timberlake though, it was all set to go down as a footnote in pop music history. Somehow though, he managed to become a damn national treasure. For a guy coming out of one of the most manufactured assembly line oriented scenes in music, Timberlake had some serious soul, and an incredible falsetto and charisma coming out of his pooper, and dance moves that would make audiences weak in the knees, and also he's a good actor. I mean, what the hell can't this dude do? Number 4, Bon Jovi. Yes, Jon Bon Jovi and his band were major successes in the 1980s, largely due to their copious hair and safe but sex appeal. And yes, Livin' on a Prayer is a classic, and Wanted Dead or Alive is still an absolutely killer track, and I will belt it out no matter how many times I end up out in the same club in Newcastle on a Saturday night. But Bon Jovi's first hit single, Runaway, was the epitome of the cheesy, toned-down hair metal that would have embarrassed even the likes of Poison. Following that unfathomable hit, the band released a series of similarly generic, synth-laden tracks that they surely submitted as possible theme songs to Miami Vice. Trust me, these are the types of songs that are relentlessly mocked in modern parodies of 80s movie montages. No fewer than 5 terrible radio singles passed before it looked like the Jovsters would be spending the rest of their career playing high school dances, and then You Give Love a Bad Name happened. And where the hell did that song come from? Seriously, where had those guitar licks been hiding? Did somebody lose a bet? Did they sell their souls to the devil? There are too many questions. Why was this so much better? Either way, had they not escaped that deep pit of mediocre synth-pop, there's no way Bon Jovi could have had a late career resurgence in the 90s and again in the early 2000s. Number 3, Justin Bieber. YouTube sensation doesn't usually equate to long-term superstardom, and yes, that's something I think about every single day for no real reason. Why, do you ask? Justin Bieber, however, completely bucked that presumption, despite producing a debut single that didn't even try to hide the fact that a pasty, smiley 13-year-old was trying to sound hard and world-weary. And remember, this was before YouTube became an actual launching pad for musicians, at a time where bands and artists had a better chance of gaining success if they came from MySpace. Bloody MySpace, of all places. So, how did Biebs do it? Well, I don't really know, as I don't think anyone could have seen Bieber lasting into the 2020s and only getting bigger. Whatever the reason, Bieber went on to have an excessive number of hit songs, one of which features the word baby no fewer than 1,900 times. Number 2, Will Smith. Call him the Fresh Prince forever, because that's exactly where Will Smith's music career should have stopped had he been a regular human. Trust me, there was no reason to usher in the new millennium. And how do we all let a grown man demand us to get jiggy, then simply shrug our shoulders, disregard that there's no such thing as getting jiggy, and then do it, happily, for years, and actually enjoy it, well, until Wild Wild West came around anyway. That could be because Big Willie Styles tunes have always been inextricably linked to his acting career. People were ready to write off the Fresh Prince and his song Parents Just Don't Understand until they saw him on their television screens performing weekly hijinks on the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And then his music only came back into the mainstream in the late 90s because he'd written the theme song for his sci-fi blockbuster Men in Black. But then, after that, it just kind of stayed there for a few more years, and goddamn, I can't pretend I don't love it. Somehow, Will Smith might even be coming back again, believe it or not. He dropped a verse on Instagram a few years ago, and it might genuinely be the best thing I have ever heard. Honestly, it's great. Check it out. I need the full song immediately. Number 1, Katy Perry. I Kissed a Girl is the kind of novelty song that conjures up images of Tattoo or the Pussycat Dolls. It's supposed to be taboo, but it's the kind of thing that's a bit cringy in 2020. And I Kissed a Girl wasn't necessarily a new concept either, just shocking enough to receive some free publicity from easily offended parent groups. It was a song very much of the moment, featuring 4 heavy guitars and the kind of bite that Pink was known for at the time. But even if your first hit is a disposable bit of mild raunch, if your follow-up is something as bombastic and butt-shakingly catchy as Hot and Cold, then you're not going anywhere anytime soon. And Perry has proved that time and time again, as she's constantly putting out respectable chart toppers with infectious choruses. She doesn't deserve to be a one-hit wonder because Hot and Cold especially is a tune. It's just kind of shocking that she wasn't. So that's our list. I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Again, I know I've poked fun at some bands and artists here, but it is all just in jest, and I am not one to talk for the bands that I like. Either way, while you're down there, could you give us a like, share, subscribe, and head over to whatculture.com for more lists and news like this every single day. Even if you don't though, I've been Josh. Thank you for watching What Culture Music, and I will see you soon.